Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by COACH Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. Today's Ramble is sponsored by Wellstoned Landscapes. From lawn to luxury, creating outdoor elegance. Wellstoned Landscapes covers most areas of Yorkshire. If you mention the Ramble when asking for a quote, you'll receive 10% off any work. Call Paul or find him on Facebook in the details below.
What is happening, Blades, and welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I'm, of course, Jimmy, and this is the warm-up. We are getting ready for Cardiff City, visiting beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. And as suspected, as I knew, because I wasn't feeling it at the time, but I've been here plenty of times as a Blade before, as I knew I would be okay now going into this next game. So, because we can't be anything else, can we? Oh, hey up. I'm being told my mic's not working properly. Let me double check that. Oh, yes. Yes. Thank you for that. Oh, why is this not? Why is... Aha.
Now then, is that any better? Is that any better? Let me know. Let me know. Mike's weird. Not sure if Mike is on. It wasn't on. I don't know whether I'd knocked it or something. Thank you to everybody that's letting me know. Well, there goes the illusion that we are a professional outfit. That's better. DK, thank you. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Danny. Yeah, so as we knew, or I knew, we hadn't any other option than to be all right, have we? We've got to get on with it. And I'm okay now. I'm okay. I'm largely okay after a really, not heated, that's the wrong way to describe it, but a really good chat with the three Mardy Blades last night. If you didn't see it, it's on the main channel. It's open, available to everybody. Usually, Three Mardy Blades is a Patreon exclusive show, but we had what we call the crisis meeting yesterday. Really enjoyed that. Dave has since gone on this morning to do us a nose pick. So he's picked his team. I've got his team as well. I'm not going to play the video because you can go and see that yourself. That's one of our shorts that's gone out as a short. We've also got a view from the mountain that's coming out. Platinum Ramblers have got that now, but that will be coming out as its own independent video from the man mountain himself. And that, again, has cheered me up significantly in terms of, look, we are where we are. Let's just ride it. Let's just take it on the chin and go with it. So let me know how you guys are feeling, because it's been a difficult week, hasn't it? So I think that we've ridden the disappointment, and now I feel like I've reset. I've reset a little bit, and I'm now accepting of the fact that it's going to be playoffs, and it's just how do we approach it now that it's going to be playoffs. So disappointing, yes, but how do we make the best of this situation here? I think it's going to be really interesting seeing what Chrissy Wilder has to say in his press conference, because obviously there's been more fingers pointed this week than ever before, haven't they, in recent times? So we've got loads coming up on the channel for you this week. Thank you to everybody that's sticking with us. Really do appreciate it. So coming up tomorrow at midday, we are preparing for the worst. And this is the thumbnail, which you can sort of make your own conclusions about in terms of how we do a rebuild for the championship. And this is worst case scenario in terms of if we haven't got a lot of money to spend and we're stuck in the championship next season, what do we think we should be looking at doing? Who do we think we should be bringing in, or where should we be strengthening? Does it need a different formation? Does it need a different approach completely? Who stays? Who goes? You decide. Isn't that the Big Brother saying? Then, so that's tomorrow at 12. Then on Thursday, as always, we are with you for Hot Off the Presser. It's forced to be a spicy one, isn't it? Thursday, we are assuming it will be Thursday early morning, and we will be live directly after it. The minute it finishes, jump onto the Ramble, and we'll be talking about it. What has Chrissy Wilder had to say in leading up to this game? Because it could have gone a few different ways, couldn't it? And then obviously, Good Friday, we'll be at the game. We'll know at that point whether Burnley have opened the door, or Watford have opened the door, essentially, because the 3 o'clock kickoff is Watford entertaining Burnley. So, tricky game for Burnley, that, to be honest. We need Watford to win there if we've any chance of the autos. But again, I've accepted the playoffs. So, if anything else comes now, it's a bonus. But whatever happens, we need to win our game. So, we kick off at 5:30. I will be at the game. So there'll be no watch along for Burnley. There'll be no watch along for Leeds. And we're going to go live at 9 o'clock while the Leeds game's still on. So we'll have that going on in background. I'll be able to talk to you a little bit about what's happening in that game. But we will be live at 9 o'clock on Friday for 90 after 90. And then there's loads more stuff to come on the channel, as you know. But that's just a little bit of what we've got lined up over the next few days. So how is everybody? Have we recalibrated a little bit? I think there's only Mark Hill that I'm still concerned about in terms of mood swings and stuff like that. Shout out to Mark, who's a top rambler, but has not taken these past 3 results none of us have. But that's it. That's it. Season done. We're not going to even do anything in playoffs. Are you feeling like that? Again, I've said before, it gauges the fan base for me. Some people are feeling like that. Some people are feeling it's not over, and there's a strong chance that Watford or Millwall or whoever the other team that Burnley play, can't remember off the top of my head, there's a strong chance that they knock Burnley off kilter, or one dodgy result and it could all swing again. Playoffs for me. Playoffs. And if we do get playoffs, and if we do get to Wembley, which again is jumping a fair few pages in front, we've had a request to run a Ramble coach down there. Don't want to step on anybody's toes. I know Picard's toes does a coach and all this sort of thing. That's where Jamie Dumpling often goes. But we will be all making sure we get down, and probably together. So, yeah, there's a strong chance that happens as well. If that's the scenario we find ourselves in. What a ramble on the road that'll be, by the way. Ricky starts us off in the comments tonight by saying, hey, Jimmy Wilder has his work cut out for him this week. He needs to totally switch up the mindset of the players. Hopefully we have players what can turn it around up the Ramble. Yeah, a lot of work on it there. I mean, it's a complete reset for everybody. And it's who motivates the motivator. That's the problem, isn't it? Who's going to pick Chris Wilder up, who's clearly on the floor himself at the moment, which is a huge concern. David, good evening. Yeah, good evening now, isn't it? Good evening, pal. Hope you're well. Evening, Jimmy. Let's hope for a good Friday and 3 vital points and a good performance a la Coventry. Up all the Rambles, up the Blades. Like and subscribe, please. Thank you, mate. Ricky says, in your opinion, what does Wilder need to do to make us more creative, as we only have scored 57 goals this season, with only scoring more than 3 on 4 occasions, or 3 or more on 4 occasions, one of them being against Wrexham. Yeah, so league games. I'd be interested to know how many league games we've scored 3 goals in. Does that mean it's 3 league games? I'd have said probably less from memory. Oxford, Coventry. I can't remember another one. What does he need to do? I think it needs a change in formation, personally. I don't think we've got consistent, reliable wingers. And I don't think we need him. And I think, in fact, that's a good place to go with. And I want to hear your teams as well, or whether you agree with our teams. But it's not often I get to do this, but because Dave the Nose's video's gone in, and Man Mountain I've edited his video as well. I've got their teams. So I've done all 3 of the Mardy Blades team lineups and how they differ. So first up is Dave the Nose. This is what he's gone with. Go and watch his video to watch his justification for it. But he's gone with Cooper in goal, Sariki at right back, Holding and Anel in the middle, and Burrows at left back. Sousa as a holding midfielder with Hamer and Peck either side of him, with a 3 in the middle, essentially, which sort of turns into a bit of a diamond if Sousa's a little bit deeper. Callum O'Hare in the 10, and he's going for 2 up top with Tom Cannon and Ty Campbell. I really like that. I really like that. I want to try 2 up top. I've gone very similar. In fact, I've gone for almost the same team, apart from I want Alfie Gilchrist in alongside Rob Holding at the back rather than Femi Siriki. I understand we're at home. I understand Femi gives us attacking intent down the right, and if he were to line up in this team like Dave's got it, I would not be upset at all. But I just think the defensive solidity, Holding, if you consider Holding a direct replacement for Harry Souttar, I know they're very different players, but in this defence, that 5-man defence was exactly the same, except switching out Holding for Souttar. So Alfie Gilchrist was the right back when we started so strongly earlier this season. So Man Mountain's gone for something a little bit different from us. He thinks Wilder will stick with the wingers, and this is the team he wants or predicts that we'll see probably. But if he could lean into it, he would want to see this, which is Cooper in goal, a back 4 of Siriki, Holding, Anel and Burrows, so the same as Dave. He's gone with a midfield 2, keeping with the 4-2-3-1 formation. He's gone with Peck and Souza in the middle, with Callum O'Hare in the 10. Gus Hamer's still out on the left-hand side, where his output has been very good for us this season. Raksaki on the right, our most natural right-sided winger, it's fair to say. And Ty Campbell up front, our top goal scorer, who I do think is looking slightly off the boil at the minute, if I'm honest. But, you know, maybe with a partner up there, it might ease things a little bit. So yeah, that's what I think, Ricky. That's my team demonstrates that in terms of how I think we can get a little bit more creative. Dave put a team out for the time before with 2 10s in it as opposed to 2 strikers, and I like that option as well. With Callum O'Hare and Gus as the 10 behind the 2 10s behind Ty Campbell, that's also an option. I think that it does make us very narrow, but I do think it's a good option creatively because we're very good on the ball. Liam says, "Evening, pal. Hope you're well." Excuse me. We have to see a reaction on Friday and try to get some confidence and momentum back with a good performance. Be nice to see some changes too. I think we all know the main one. I think we do, mate. Up all the rambles. Please like and subscribe. Let's get to 7K. Yes, let's get to 7K. Thank you, Liam. I appreciate that. We are, from last count, I think we're 111 away from 7,000 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible. So thank you to everybody that supports the channel. It's free to subscribe. It's free to like it and get it seen by other people. If you do like what we do, then I'd appreciate it if you could help us out by doing that. Ian says, "Evening, Jimmy. Expect a big response from the players and will be more than disappointed if we don't see a much improved performance. Need to maintain the pressure on the other 2. Like and subscribe." Thank you, mate. Kyle says, "Paul did it again, filled me full of positivity, and now I feel like Burnley and Leeds will drop points." Were that last night, or have you seen the view from the mountain? Where have you seen that, Kyle? I agree. He is Mr. Positive, and I love it. I love it. You're echoey. Am I still echoey? Oh, no, sorry. It's that's from before, isn't it? Gav says, "Leeds fan here, Jim Bob. Great content. Keep your chin up. I still think you go up." Thank you, mate. I hope you're right. "Just want Friday to hurry up," says Jack. "The waiting around on the back of losses is a horrible feeling. Just want us to go for it. There's still a chance that Leeds can falter with their current injuries." Yes, there is. I don't think it's very likely, to be honest. Danny says, "Evening, Jimmy and fellow Blades. I've had this running through my head all last week. Do you think the club want to stay in the Championship to build on the squad? I think we stay in the Championship and go for promotion next season with a stronger squad. Up the Blades, up the full-time ramble. Like and subscribe." Thank you, mate. This is something that Man Mountain mooted during 3MB, and to be fair to him, I think it got taken out of context a little bit. I think he was trying to look for the positives in if we do stay down. I certainly don't think anybody involved at the club, fans included really, want us to stay down. I know that there's an argument to say that it's more entertaining being in the Championship, and that is true. That is, you know, there's no doubt about it. We have had more fun this year than we had last year, getting spanked every week in the Prem. But the reason we're having fun this year is because we've got the Premier League money that allowed us to keep our better players and strengthen, bringing in players like Michael Cooper, like Harrison Burrows, like the loans that we've brought in, Harry Souttar, for example. So without that Premier League money, without getting promoted to access that war chest. We are Norwich, and this is no offence to those teams, but these are teams that have been in the big time and not made it back up again. West Brom, Stoke. I mean, look at Luton. They came down with us, and look, they could well go through trapdoor again. I don't think for a minute that is what anybody at the club, because you've said here, do you think the club want to stay in the Championship to build on the... No, I don't. Man Mountain, as I say, in 3MB last night was saying there are some silver linings to it, potentially, in terms of becoming a more cohesive unit. But ultimately, we need to get up to keep the club ticking and keep things moving forward. Timmy says, Timmy, hi, Jim. Thanks for Bogle. Lots of love, Leeds United up the ramble. No worries, mate. Hope you stick with him in Premier League. See how you get on. Seamus says, evening, Jimmy. Just listening as a new guy to the channel and really enjoying it. Thank you, mate. Keep it up the good work. By the way, I'm a Leeds United fan. There's loads of you guys and gals in here nowadays. But here we go again. Ronan, Leeds fan here. We'll not do it easy. It will come down to the final day. Please like and subscribe, Seamus. Ian, thank you, mate. Hi, Jimmy. Would you take a Blades v Sunderland final at Wembley now, says Woody. No. No. No, I wouldn't. There's part of me that's not willing to give up on it yet, which is ludicrous and very nonsensical. But if Watford... Can you imagine? I mean, the pressure on Burnley is immense now. And Leeds, but the pressure on Burnley, knowing that we come to Turf Moor, can you imagine if, for whatever reason, Watford are able to pull off the unthinkable and beat Burnley, and then we go into our game knowing that if we beat Cardiff, and we've been here before, and we haven't, the last 3 games we haven't performed, but if we beat Cardiff, then it's back in our own hands again, this whole thing. Because we can, if we would still need to go and beat Burnley at Turf Moor. But if we did that, we're above them. It's stranger things have happened. So no, I'm not quite completely giving up on anything. Plus, I think if we can't get through the semis, the playoff semis, we don't deserve to go up. So I'm not just taking it just for a final. Ray says, fair enough, stay down, but we have to go for the playoffs. Surely we must win one day. Plus the money comes in handy. Up the Blades, up all the rambles. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, the money, it's the Premier League, isn't it? It's the Premier League money. So I think that the 3MBs last night was cathartic for all of us, says Paul. Up the Blades, up all the rambles. Like and thank you, mate. That's a big part of why we do it. We're talking through. I think I'm a big fan of rambling, as you can tell, but I'm a big fan of talking through things in good times and bad, because I think it is quite cathartic, it's therapeutic, and whatever other description you want to put on it in that way. But we're all in a similar boat, aren't we? We'll all have different opinions on it, which is great, and it's what we love. But we're all feeling low, and we're feeling the sting of throwing it away or appearing to throw it away. And by talking through different opinions on it, I just think it allows us to think in different ways and become a little bit more accepting of different perspectives. David says, chin up, Jim. All 3 of us will go up as it should be. Dave from LUFC. I hope you're right, pal. I think I've said that from, a couple of months out, I think, at least a month out. I think the top 3 now, whichever order they are, should all go up, really. It'd only be just... I'm not calling for the playoffs to be scrapped like a few have. I think it's a brilliant system, the playoffs. But I think if justice has any part to play in this, which it usually doesn't, but I think all 3 of the best 3 teams this season have been the best by a distance. Notable mention to Sunderland, by the way, who have given it a real go. Roy says, hi, Jim. I'm not cheered up at all. Still fuming. What on earth has gone wrong? I'm not giving us any chance in the playoffs. So peed off, and I can't shake it. I get it, mate. I get it. There's people. Mark's in a similar boat. We were calling him Victor Meldrew last night. Oh, hang on. Oh, it's Matt. It's Matt. Sorry, I thought it was Mark. Anyway, I think that might be his brother. But anyway, I know, Roy, it's infuriating, isn't it? Let's be right. You think I'd know better at my age. Why though, mate? Why do you have to be accepting of it? Why do you not let it take you and let yourself ride the emotions. That's all part of being a fan. And if we do fail this year, and then we go on to achieve it next year, if we do, because obviously it's a tougher ask next year than it was this year, but it'll feel all the more sweet. And that's the part of the roller coaster that we all love, isn't it, of being a fan of a football club. Do you think Wilder has lost the dressing room, Jimmy? This last week's defeats and performances say he has. If we don't win the playoffs, then it's time for him to go, says Chris. How dare you ask me such a straightforward question like that? I think everybody's confidence is wobbled at the minute. I wouldn't say he's lost the dressing room, but I certainly don't think the players are playing anywhere near to the levels that we've seen this season. And we've bemoaned some of the performances this season, and I understand that. But there's also been times, too rare to be honest, but we know the quality these players have got. Coventry, Middlesbrough, Oxford at home. We've played really, really well in some of these games. And it's just the consistency isn't there, is it? I thought they had every motivation they needed to go down to Plymouth and turn Plymouth over, but it just wasn't there. And some may question the manager because of that. As I say, it's going to be a really interesting press conference this week. Daz says, hi, Leeds fan here. Found the channel yesterday and love it. Thank you, mate. I'm still not confident of us doing it. May the best two do it. Yeah, I just think you're too far in front now with 4 to go. Cooler King says, like Dave the Nose said last night, never mind about what Leeds and Burnley or anyone else are doing. Just totally focus on the next game. Well said, mate. Matt says, how's it going to be when we win at Wembley, though, up the Ramble? Matt, are you Mark's brother? Because I know his brother comes on every now and again. That'd be really funny if you have a completely polar opposite view to him. Ian laughing at Roy. Kelly says, hi, Jimmy. Hope you're well. There could be a chance of autos, or if not, playoffs for us up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Thank you, Kel. Hope you're well. David says, after last night's 3MB, I'm feeling we can and will put in a performance on Friday. I'm expecting the playoffs. Any better, it's bingo bonus. Absolutely right. And check out Match Bingo. New supporter of the channel. Thank you to everybody that signed up, by the way. We are having a lot of fun on the watch-alongs, playing bingo. In fact, we're going to have a very special watch-along on Monday, and I'm going to tell you what it is now because Man Mountain spoiled it in his View from the Mountain. So a lot of people, well, the Platinum Ramblers will already know, and then you'll know when you watch View from the Mountain yourselves. So we're going to have our very first 3MB in-person watch-along. So the boys, hopefully, if Dave can make it, because he may get a ticket to the game, the boys are going to be sat here. I'm not going to completely obscure the view. I may have to sit like this. But the boys are going to be here. Man Mountain, what a man, what a view. And Dave the Nosy really knows. I'm going to watch the game here. And we'll all be contributing to the watch-along, which will be great. And we'll be playing bingo as well. So anybody that wants to join us, do sign up using this link. I've been told today, actually, we can play our own exclusive game just for our Ramblers. So we may well see you there. Rich says, good evening, Jimmy. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's Championship next season. Oh, Rich. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, mate. Cody says, hiya, Jimmy. How are you? I've got a feeling that we be armed Cardiff. we be what? We be what, Code? I've got a feeling that we beat Cardiff. Beat Cardiff, maybe. I hope you're right, mate. If that's what you're saying, I hope you're right. All Yorkshire, aren't we? Says Paul. Yes, we are, mate. Or the majority of us are. We're all Blades. And I don't think you are, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you. Borough, we scored 3. Yes, we did. Thank you. I was thinking that just a second ago, actually, as I'd said it. We can't keep expecting the defence to dig us out if we can't score. No, we can't, because defence is no good either. Defence is no good either at the minute. I'm not going to elaborate, but I think you all know what I mean. 3 against Borough. Thank you, Matt. 4-2-3-1 works in the champ, but you need the wingers with pace. Yeah, absolutely. That's why we changed it, because a lot of teams are utilising that now. And I think a lot of Premier League teams use the 2 wide forwards, don't they, and 1 up top. So that's a little bit of like planning for longevity when you're building your squad. I think that's played a part in it as well. But it's not working for us because we've got no wingers. We've got Raksaki, who's a winger, who very rarely goes around the outside, cuts inside every single time. And that's it. I mean, we've got Andre Brooks, who we've tried on the wing for the first time this season. Also a left footer on the right wing, cuts inside. We've got nobody that goes to the byline and crosses it. Nobody. Because we just don't play that way. You know, we've got Kiefer Moore, 6'4", studying on penalty spot. You know, we're not playing any balls into him. Cooper Burrows and L holding Sariki, Sousa, Peck, Hamer, O'Hare, Cannon, and Campbell. Okay, yeah. So is that Dave's team as well? Similar to Dave's? Yeah, it is. That's Dave's team as well. 4-2. Oh, so you've got 4-2-2-2. So you've got Hamer further up alongside O'Hare. Fair dues, pal. Fran says, evening, Jim. Goals have been a problem all season. The current issue is a leaky defence. Show that up and we'll be fine. And on the right side of those those fine margin games. Yeah, well said, mate. Get Alfie back, says Roy. I'm with you, pal. I'm with you. If you look at Man Mountain's team, for example, and he certainly knows what he's talking about. But I don't like this Sariki-Raksaki combination down the right-hand side. Very, very like tunnel vision, get it forward. You know, let's just go. I don't think Raksaki does enough work defensively to protect Sariki. I think Sariki's defensive work leaves a little bit to be desired, which we've mentioned before. So I don't think they're the ideal combination together. I'm just not feeling Cannon for you guys, says Daz. You're not alone. There's a lot of Blades who've not given up on him already, but are very down on him as a signing. I think it's very early. I do have to say, though, I don't think you can point towards a lack of service against Plymouth, but I don't think he stamped his authority and made his mark himself. And he was one of many players that didn't play well, but he didn't really put his marker down to say, I should be challenging for this shirt on Saturday. It's a hard job, though. We always say this lone striker up front. Ty Campbell's got a lot of qualities that leans towards being he's strong, he's quick, he's got a lot of good physical attributes, and he's a great finisher as well. So not many of them about at the level. James says, when Suter was here, in 18 games, we conceded 8 goals. With Robinson in 20 games, we've let in 22 goals. Robinson needs to go. What has Rob Holding got to do? All three of us, all three Mardy Blades, have got Rob Holding in for Jack Robinson this week. Will Chris Wilder drop Jack Robinson? That is the question. And I tell you something, if he does, I will have a smidgen of hope that it might be back on. But until Jack Robinson's out of this team and Rob Holding, and it's nothing, it sounds personal. I promise you it's not personal. I don't know him. I've spoken to him once. So it's certainly nothing personal, and he clearly didn't recognise me, thank God. He's probably never seen the Ramble, thank God. But I just think Rob Holding is a class above. And that's nothing personal to Robbo. That's, you know, I think you've got to go, particularly at this time of the season, with your best players. Cody says, hi, Jimmy, how are you feeling? I've got a feeling that we beat Cardiff and Leeds to lose and Burnley to draw on Friday. And my feeling is we'll finish above Leeds. Wow. I don't think so. Cody, I hope you're right. Can't see that, Cody, says Woody. The Leeds fan, it has to be said. But I think that's a stretch, mate. Listen, I hope you're right. And everybody's got their opinions. That's why we're here, isn't it? I hope we don't start with a pass it sideways, backwards disaster, Robbo, goal down, all that sort of thing. I agree. If Cole says, if we don't go up, can you see Wilder going? I'm a Wilder fan, but I know a lot of the fan base have still got a sour taste in the mouth from the last time and see him as no good and part of the past. I don't think Wilder will walk. But who knows how loyal or ruthless or whatever you want to call them, these new owners are. Ambitious, some might say. They might see, I don't know, somebody waiting in the wings. Steve Cooper, like it's been mentioned previously, and things like, and think he would do a much better job than Chrissy Wilder. I do not know. They might see a foreign manager that Wilder is not their man, is he? We've got to remember that. They didn't appoint him. We've also got to remember that they gave him a new contract when they didn't have to do that. So they're clearly impressed with the job that he's done, or he'd done up to that point. It's only the last 3 games. It's been a brilliant season. We can't forget that. It's the last 3 games that's, yes, it's unravelled our whole season. but it's not done. It's not done yet. So it's a bit of a cop-out answer, Cole, but I don't know is the honest answer, because it's unproven. It's a little bit like if we get promoted, will they spend money? Don't know. I'd like to think so. The Tom Cannon purchase says yes, they will be ambitious, but you don't know for sure, do you? So I don't know if they will stick with him or not. I don't know if I've said I don't know enough, so I'll just say I don't know. Ray says, yeah, got to go with 2 up top. Be brave. Chris, can't see why not. We're in the playoffs, so try some things out these last 4 games. Nige says, evening, pal. At work on nights. I've just accepted it's playoffs now and only looking forward to the big bash game. That's it. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thinking about Big Bash and the Bash and everything else that's coming at the end of the season. Obviously, me and a load of Ramblers have got tickets for the end of season awards due. 180 quid. Let me know. Dave the Nose, Man Mountain, and Dry Bry are all convinced it's Tux. And I'm saying it, Dave. I'm saying it. And I know what black tie means, and we've had this argument before. Surely I don't have to buy a tux or rent a tux for this deal. I've already forked out 180 quid. I'm unemployed. You know what I mean? What do we do? Can I get away with a suit, a normal suit? Let me know. If there's anybody on from club, Sky or John or anybody that's Paul, let me know. Can I get away with a normal suit, or do I have to fork out for a tux and all? 7K before playoff final day. Oh, mate, I hope so. Let's see what we're on. What's the scores on the doors at the minute? We are on 105 away now. Thank you to everybody that's subscribed whilst you're here. Appreciated. Danny says, what's your opinions on Connor from One Leeds? How do you let him bash the Blades like he does? I am good mates with Connor, Danny, and we do a lot. I don't know if you've not seen the fact that we do a lot of content together. I'm on his channel at least once a week doing battle lines. We do a lot of crossover content. I think that's brought both fan bases together for our channels anyway. I don't mean in general, obviously, but for our channels, I think there's a lot of Blades gone over to One Leeds. There's a lot of One Leeds subscribers come over to Ramble as well. I enjoy his company. I enjoy his banter. I don't mind him bashing United. I'll put him in his place if I think he's gone too far. I'd expect the same from him as well. I placed a bet with him at not the very beginning of the season, but about a month or 2 in, saying that whoever finishes lower than the other has to come on stream and wear the opposition's shirt. So at the minute, it looks like I'm going to have to wear a Leeds shirt on One Leeds. Them's the risks you run when you back your own side, and it's just a little bit of fun, isn't it? So yeah, and it's not about me letting him. He can do whatever he likes, can't he? But me and other Blades will go back at him if we think he's gone too far. But if you can't have banter with opposition fans, I think game's gone, hasn't it? I know that's an overused saying, but as long as it's harmless and not personal to anybody, then I think it's all a big part of it, to be honest. Jay says, who do you want in the playoff final? Would you take Pat Bamford next season? I want Burnley and Sunderland in playoff final. And no, I wouldn't take Pat Bamford personally. I've heard from my mate Connor that he's played very well in his last couple of cameos. This isn't dropping him in it because he'd be honest himself, and he's coming back on the channel very soon. He promises me that. Andy the Blade, he's a fan of Patrick Bamford and thinks that he could do a reasonable job. Obviously, he's massively overpriced in terms of his wages. He's on something like 75 grand a week or something like that. Absolutely ludicrous. But no, I wouldn't take him personally. I think he's way too injury prone. But Andy the Blade thinks there's definitely a player in there. Add me to the subscribers. Great channel. Thank you, Daz. Appreciate that. Paul says, honestly, Hamer advanced and central is your main man. Let him do his stuff where it counts. I think, oh, no, I was going to say we've all got him doing that. Paul's got him out left because that's where he's played most of the season. I don't want to talk for Paul. He can ramble with best of us, but he has produced strong output from that position for the vast majority of the season. And we've no other left wingers, and Paul wants wingers in his team for that. He thinks we lose a lot of width if we don't. So I get it. But I've got him inside on my team. Instead of playing wide man in Saki and Hamer, I I'd like to see a close three, BBD, Cannon and Campbell, O'Hare, Hamer and Sousa behind. Yeah, possibly, mate, possibly. If our defence was solid in the last 3 games, we would have 5 more points, says Fran. And we wouldn't be adrift, would we, mate? Shane says, evening all, Leeds supporter here. Leeds will flipping drop points as usual. So there's hope, only if you beat Burnley. No swearing on here, pal. Thank you. We're a family channel. But I can see us going to Turf Moor and winning, whether we've got anything to, because that's Sheffield United, lose at the bottom of the league and beat the team above you. That's just typically what we do. And that don't mean Burnley aren't going to be a ridiculously tough game, because Burnley have gone under the radar all season. And how you do that when you've only conceded 13 goals and lost 29 or gone 29 unbeaten is incredible. But I strongly believe we can beat Burnley. It's just whether we will or not. So it's one of them things, but I still don't know whether that's going to be enough. Leeds needs to go up more than you do, since we have a stadium expansion on the line. Yeah, but you'll just revisit it if it's another season, won't you? Rich says, I think you've let Wilder off lightly. His behaviour over the last couple of games has been embarrassing, and he's let Sheffield United down big time. I can't defend his behaviour, mate. I can't defend it. I'm the biggest Wilder backer you'll find, I think. But I can't defend his, and I don't think he would in cold light of day, to be honest. It's an emotional game, isn't it? And he wears his heart on his sleeve. You can't just praise him for being a chest-thumping manager and not think that comes with some negativity as well, in terms of it could maybe bring out the worst in you at times as well. He's let his emotions get better of him. It's not great. Don't cover himself in glory. It isn't great for the club, but you take that as part of the Wilder package for me. And if you don't accept that, then I understand that too. But I think he'd be first to say, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I would be surprised because he's a stubborn swine, isn't he? But I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if he retracted a bit of it in his next press conference, in terms of, I should have had a word with myself or something like that. So he certainly tried to pour cold water on it in the post-match straight away. Oh, it's a bit of nothing. It's something and nothing, blah, blah, blah. And the emotions will still have been heated at that time as well. So it wouldn't shock me, even though I don't think he's the apologetic type. But it wouldn't shock me if he sort of backtracked a little bit on his behaviour. Rob says, bitterly disappointed with the 3 defeats in a row, but once you step back and reflect, we've had a great season and so far, and your channel helps voice our opinions and vent. Thanks for the great content. Thank you, Rob. Thanks for being a part of it, pal. Appreciate it. Hopefully see you at Triple Point on Friday, mate. Just United says, look who Burnley have after us. Last game against Millwall, who's already beat them this season. Yeah, but if you need to, well, I'm going to say, if you need to win a game to go up, then you win it, don't you? Whether that's true. Millwall might still be trying to get into the playoffs, might they, I suppose? So you never know. But you do overtake Burnley, Jimmy, to be fair. PS, as long as we don't bottle it. Yeah, possibly. Ian says, pressure's all on the Blades, unfortunately. Got to hope Burnley and lose back-to-back games. Neither club has lost back-to-back yet this season. And we have, haven't we? We've lost back-to-back Leeds and Borough, and then we've lost back-to-back-to-back these last 3 games. So stranger things have happened, Ian, but it's not likely at all, is it? Jack says the pressure isn't on us, Burnley. We have steadily gone on our way where we are in the to where we are in the table as it stands. Great content, by the way. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. I think now that you are in the driver's seat, it's a different type of pressure. So I think that adds a layer of pressure to you that you haven't really experienced for a long period of time anyway. Finish line's in sight for us all, isn't it? It's just a case of who's going to stumble, if anybody now. Jimmy, can you just pause for 2 seconds while everyone hits the like button? That's all it takes. Thanks, Ian. Appreciate that, mate. What a man. What a man. Come on, you Clarets. Please beat Watford Friday, and it's as good as over. I don't know, Dom, you know. I don't know. Look, if we go to Turf Moor and reduce the gap to 3 points even, you've got to go to QPR and win, which is doable. You've got to host Millwall. I can tell you from experience, that ain't easy. Danny's giving us a thumbs up. Thank you, mate. Keith says, I think the playoffs should be 3rd and 4th and 1st and 22nd. I like it as it is, but I would like a relegation playoff as well. I think that would add an extra layer. Just keeps the league going for longer, doesn't it? And if you've happened to find yourself as being one of those mid-table obscurity teams, like who plays in blue and white, then we know what to play for. You know, if they were in a relegation playoff, that'd be entertaining, wouldn't it? It would for me, anyway. Just so you know, Sunderland have scored the same amount as us, but they've conceded 5 more. Interesting, Ricky. Ricky, the new stat man by the looks of it on Just United, released a video today on his Jack Robinson captain material. If you want to go check that out. Who is Wilder going to chuck under the bus this week? Says Ian, the fans, the team, or is Wilder going to throw himself under the bus? Interesting take. Interesting. See, this is a reflection of how the fan base is feeling, though, isn't it? Some feel that he hasn't taken responsibility. He hasn't looked at himself in terms of the decisions that he's made. And that it does get taken out of context, what he was saying about the fan base, because he was talking about a very small section of the away end that were abusive to the players. It's just one of them, innit? Just one of them. Isaac says, hi, Jim. Love your channel, mate. Who are you most worried to lose to if the Blades don't go up? I think we will lose Anel, Sousa, and Hamer. I'm most worried about losing Hamer out of those 3 because I think he's the most difficult to replace. Dave the Nose was saying last night, no one's irreplaceable. That's true, but you can't get it. Well, Illiman and Dye I would say different, I suppose, but Gus Hamer's really difficult to replace. They're the 3 I've sort of accepted losing, though. If we lost someone like Michael Cooper, or I would say Siddy Peck or Ollie Arblaster, that's a huge blow. That's a huge blow. Mountain has it right, says Jace. Jim Bob, Hughes and the Nose look like a Jesse Marsh pick. Fair dues, Hughes. Up the ramble, top man. Big Mal off the bench, but it's just not worked, has it, for us? I think you need to play Hamer in the 10, in my opinion, on his day's quality. I do like the idea of having 2 10s behind the 1 striker, which we've pitched before. Dave the Nose was first to pitch it last week. Daryl says, Leeds fan here, I think if you take out Robinson, it will boost the rest of your team like it did Mez with us. Excuse me, hiccuping. I completely agree. Completely agree. Danny says, I love to see us with 2 up top, Brewster and Campbell. Calsat just behind, Sousa, Peck and Gus in the middle, Alfie holding Anel and Burrows, and Cooper in goal. I'm not sure about Rian. But look, I can't put forward a really strong argument for Cannon either. When I want to see Cannon alongside Campbell personally, but he's not doing me any favours at the minute, is he, I suppose? Cody says, sorry, I hope you're okay. I've got a feeling that we will beat Cardiff, Oxford to beat Leeds, and Watford draw. And I've got this feeling that we'll finish above Leeds. Yeah, sorry, Cody. I got that one earlier, mate, when you sent it in. RotR says, I don't know if Leeds' injuries will matter. They have a solid bench. Dan James off, Nonto on is insane. That's true. Strauch off, Firpo in isn't bad. It's not that, though, is it? That's not the change. The change is Ampadu to centre half when Strauch's out, which does take him down a notch. No doubt about it. Nobody can convince me that Ethan Ampadu is a top-level championship centre-half, because he's not. He's not. I don't even rate him as a centre midfielder. Connor and a few Leeds fans seem to, and that's fair enough because you watch him an awful lot more than I do. But I know for a fact he is not a centre-half. They haven't had a red all season. Maybe that's coming, says RotR. We'll see. You have nothing to be cheered up about, says Gary. Okay, thanks, mate. Matt says, when Cannon plays, we never play well. Not a Sheffield United type player. Also, who's responsible for our set plays? Only 4 goals this season from corners, which is shocking. I agree, Matt. I don't think we've got a specialised set piece coach, from what I understand. It's something we need to look at because we are poor from set plays. It's been mentioned a couple of times recently. Completely agree. Both offensive and defensive for me. We've conceded from corners. We've conceded from a corner again against Plymouth. It's not good enough. Not good enough. James says, why do you think the fans turned on Wilder and the players after Oxford? We had that. Had that been coming, as that was after beating Coventry? I don't know. I don't get it. I think there is a little bit, and it's hard to touch on this without offending people, but I think there's a little bit of entitlement is very strong, but expectancy, I think, probably might be the word from some of the fan base when this is a really hard league to get out of. Yes, we've done really well. And at that time, I think we had more points than anybody else in the division. So to turn on the players was a little bit, well, it's just off for me. I know the majority of fans completely disagreed with those minority of fans that partook in the abuse. But I did not understand it at all. So I was with Wilder, and you'll have seen that on Hot Off the Presser when he came out and he criticised those fans that abused them. I think there's a little bit of, we should be doing better than this. And yeah, maybe that's it certainly was one disappointing performance and result. And we haven't been blowing teams away this season, but we've been doing what's needed from us. And I just think sometimes, look, in any other year, we'd be top 2. But there's been 3 really good teams this year, and we're one of them. And it looks like we're going to be the 3rd best at the moment, which is really unfortunate for us. It happened to Leeds last year. They finished on 90 points and didn't go up. It happens, unfortunately. And it's how you react to it, isn't it? Paul says we beat Oxford and Stoke, and it's all over, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's fair, mate. Andrew says, I really don't to hear that our manager is currently crestfallen. I want to hear that our manager is calm, controlled, and confident. I agree, and that's just my opinion. He might be calm, controlled, and confident, but just from an optics perspective, my point of view is he looks crestfallen. He looks defeated. He looks, I don't want to say out of ideas, because I certainly don't know whether that's the case, but it looks like he's under a real tough time at the minute. Jack says Leeds may struggle at Oxford too. Who knows? They've also got to play Bristol City, and their final day away at Plymouth. Out of their last 4 games, their easiest is Stoke. Final away day at Plymouth. Let's just hope Plymouth have got something to play for, really, because I'm not sure they will have. We need Alfie behind Desraki because of his defensive qualities. I agree. Having Sariki with Raksaki is like playing with 2 right wingers. Yes, true. Ray says, thing is, 2 up top with Campbell and Cannon are in reality. We are in reality only still 1 up top. Sorry, but just don't get Cannon. Said this from the start, and that's fair. Ray, you're entitled to your opinion, pal. Steve Cooper would be a great fit, says Ian. I think there's possibly better choices out there if we did choose to make a change, but I don't think we should. I don't think we're ready for that. I think Wilder, I'm a Wilder backer anyway. Wilder, he's got us to this position. At least allow him to try and finish the job. But it's not my money online, is it? I suppose. Jim Leeds fan here says, Mark, you always talk sense without getting carried away. Credit, not like a certain Leeds cricketer. This is the Championship with players to suit. Can be great, then awful. Yeah, we love the Championship. We do. I'm not saying I want to stay here. I want to get promoted out of it. But I was saying it 2 weeks ago, and that hasn't changed. It's a brilliant league, and it's a really painful league at times as well. And we've felt the full force of it, haven't we, over the last few weeks? Thank you, pal. Nigel says sentiment shouldn't stand. We say it about Robbo. If we get a manager that takes us a class above and the board backs him massively, then what would you think? What would you all think then? I'm a Wilder fan, but he's giving me vibes from when he walked in the past 3 games. That always comes into it as well, doesn't it? From when he walked, he hasn't shaken that stigma yet, has he? I don't know what he needs to do, and I don't know if he ever will. And I'm not saying he should either. It's just an interesting talking point that has he tarnished that beyond all repair? Has he tarnished that first stint or his stint with United? And even if we went up this season, it wouldn't erase the way he left the first time. Because I think some fans, I'm not saying Nigel's one of these fans, but I know that there's some fans out there that haven't and can't forgive him for that. And I just think he's doing absolutely everything he can. And that should be the question, whether that is good enough. And he'd say that himself. Ian says, no easy games left, and it's whoever holds the nerve at this stage of the season. Well, we've done well, haven't we? I think the Blades would do the best out of all 3 teams in the playoffs. I think Burnley do the best out of all 3 in the playoffs. They grind out results like nobody else. I'm nervous for us in the playoffs, if I'm honest, Ian. Chris says, if we lose to Burnley, we might as well bring the youngsters in for the remaining games. Not only will they get some first-team experience, but it'll save the first-team players for the playoffs. Or you try and get a cohesive team unit together going into the playoffs. That's the other counter-argument to it, Chris, which there's pros and cons to both, I think. You're self-employed, not unemployed, Jimmy. I know, Bri. I know it's a little joke, I say, to be fair. I'll rent your tux if we go up, Jimmy says, Gus. Thanks, mate. Thanks. Feeling a 1-0 United and a Burnley struggle. Big weekend ahead, says Joe. Not just a Burnley struggle, Joe. Put what you really think. Put what you really think. Great content, Leeds Fanniest. Thank you, King. Thank you. Jimmy, hi, Jimmy. This is the time to drop Robinson. Please, God, says Matthew. Right, okay. I know the majority of Blades, or at least I get that vibe from both our group and the chat as well, and people that we speak to. The majority of Blades are now in favour of Rob Holding coming into the side for Jack Robinson. The question is that I'm going to ask you now to put in the chat is, do you think he'll do it? Because this could be the turning point, couldn't it? I know it's too far gone, but in terms of our form, at least, it could be the turning point. Paul says, Battle Lines is quality. You'll be donning the famous white shirt. Looks like I will, mate. Looks like I will. Ray says, who remembers when Cannon started for Stoke earlier in the season? He was so bad they pulled him off at half-time. He's not strong enough, gets knocked off the ball too easily. He played really poorly when Stoke came to Bramall Lane. I completely agree with you, Ray, there. But he did also get 10 goals in half a season, playing on his own up front for Stoke, who don't give him the same service that we should be giving him. So, in that respect, we're not getting the best out of him, are we? And there is a player in there somewhere. Chris says, evening, Jim. You could wear a clown suit for the player awards. It would be apt. Let's hope it's us going up. Start praying, says King Tut. Wear a suit and a dicky, says Corey. Black tie ain't what it used to be. I know, but I've paying amount I've paid. I don't want to be turned away at the door. Who's Dave the Nose going to be sniffing at this year's player of the year awards? I don't know, mate. I don't know. I'm sure he'll have his bloodhound like schnoz out trying to find the right players. Thomas says, Leeds hopefully draw one game and lose the last game to Bristol City. We win all our games, cannot lose again. We have a minor chance, but if it's playoffs, so be it. We'll show the world we can win a playoff. Do you think it's pressure on the players or your manager has made bad calls? I think it's both, to be honest. I think it's both. I think it's the players haven't coped with the pressure, and nor has the manager when it started to turn. And this is where we have to change it, because if we don't change it now, if we don't get a positive result on Friday, then it's definitely gone. But it's I can't even think about it, to be fair. Nige says, definitely wild. King Tut, he picks the team and makes the changes. Yeah, he does. He does. Maury says, I'll check it out. Just United. I'd love to work with him for YouTube. There you go, Maury. Giving Ricky a plug. Media say we don't score enough goals. 57, same as Burnley. Defence is the difference. I agree, Sheila's Wheels. Completely agree. Evening, Nige, mate, says Bri. Paul says, top three should go up, in my opinion, like it used to be. If you don't finish top three, you don't deserve to go up. Sorry, Jim, didn't mean you. It was aimed at the team. I don't know which bit, Chris, to be fair. Which of these three would you keep? Whose contracts are up? Anel, Robinson, and Brewster. I'd keep Anel, but I don't think it's going to be possible. I think he's the only one that probably wants to. To be fair to Anel, he's got another 12 months to run, whereas Robinson and Brewster are out of contract to end of season. If Robinson hasn't activated this clause that I wasn't aware of that while they were talking about. So we'll see. Hey up, Jimmy. Think your videos are my daily fix, says Maury. Up the Blades and up the Ramble. Thank you, pal. I don't think we lose Hamer. I can't see any Prem team paying what we want, says David Vinter. Keep the faith. Still ought to play for until it's impossible. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Get Gilchrist and Holding in, says Jack. I completely agree. Chef Paul says, I've been really disappointed by the attitude of the players in the last 3 games. Slow play, no energy. All season they've believed 1 goal is enough. I have zero confidence in a playoff win. I think that's harsh, but fair. I think that's, who I don't often see. I did at Coventry, I did at Middlesbrough, I did at Oxford at home. Other than that, I have not seen Leeds for the first half. First 60 minutes, you could argue. Other than that, I have not seen, and that's 3.5. Other than those 3.5 performances this season, I've not seen anything that's out of third gear, I'd say. Most of it in second. I think Jack Robinson's a liability, says Maury. Does anyone know for sure if anyone from the club watches our Ramble channel? Up the Ramble, up Ramble on the road, up the Blitz? Yes, I do. I do know that they do, Bri. Yes. Shout out. And if, well, I'm not gonna name drop. It's crude, but if anybody wants to drop a comment, you're more than welcome. I know they don't like to, but 4-2-3-1. Coops, Burrows, Anel holding, Gilchrist as a 4. Sousa and Peck holding, Raksaki on the right, Hamer and O'Hare interchanging through the middle and wide left, and then Campbell up top. Yes, so that is Paolo's shout, isn't it? That's the same as the Man Mountain. David says, you really think a Premier League team will sign Hamer? I think Leeds could sign him if they go up. I don't think he's going to have loads of options, but I think he's one of those middle ground players, isn't he, where he's too good for the champ in a lot of ways when he wants to turn up. And he certainly is. He's got the talent, no doubt about it. It's just we haven't seen it consistently enough this season. And he's not really a consistent enough player to be a Premier League standout. I don't know if I've just knocked my mic off then. So let me know if that all goes to pot. Let me just double check. Yeah, we're good. Should still be all right. Nigel's not a chance. David is way overweight for the Prem. Well, Nigel just said it. Adam says, if you don't go up, we would definitely take Hamer and Copper. You can have Copper, whoever he is. You're not having Michael Cooper. And I think Gus might join you, Ad, if I'm, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Like Bryce says, Cooper's not up for discussion, Adam, mate. Super positive. Jack says, I want to see the formation that suits our players, playing without wingers, same patterns of play, and no plan B. David says, spent over 500 quid at the weekend taking the grandkids to Plymouth. Very disappointing, but would never abuse any of our players. Always believe and be loud and proud up the Blades. Well said, mate. Well said. And fantastic support as always. Joe says, this season has had too many twists and turns for it not to have a few more. I don't think it's done yet. Blackburn play the kids' final day and we are up. Don't know, mate. Adam says, don't worry, Jim. You're definitely coming up through the playoffs. To be fair, Jimmy, at the start of the season, if you'd asked me if we finished top 3 after the Prem last season, I'd have laughed. But yes, Wilder loses his cool at times and does stupid things, but he's got us where we are. And there's not enough of that, is there, Tom? We can only, a lot of us, me included at times, can only focus on what's happened in the so recent past and not over the season as a whole. He's done a phenomenal job with us this year. And he's only just started the rebuild. And the foundation that he's built, which we'll go on to tomorrow when we talk about tomorrow at 12, and that's a plug for this, which is preparing for the worst. If we happen to be in the championship next season, then you'll see from what I've looked at already. I haven't done a load of research because, come on, it's the Ramble, but we've got a decent foundation, even if we lose those star players, and that's thanks to Chris Wilder. Leeds could draw all 4 and go up. If you don't win, that's win all 4. That's how good an advantage we have. Yeah, it's a really strong advantage now, Paul, at this stage of the season. But if you don't, we would definitely take Coops and Hamer off you. I don't think you'll take Cooper off us, to be honest. You'll have to pay through nose. Jim Bob, what you said about Connor at 1 Leeds was fantastic. He's the reason I got into this channel. Oh, thank you, Jace. Both of you are fantastic. Up the Ramble, marching on together. Thank you, mate. Dino says, if the owners do get shut of Wilder, I hope they don't. I'd go and get Danny Roll, absolute quality manager. Oh. Let me just make sure I'm looking good for when I get clipped up. I can't. I'm beyond saving, to be honest. Jace says, think you'll get second when Millwall do the double over Burnley, bud. Oh, can you imagine the scenes at Bramall Lane? And Blackburn fans will be celebrating with us, won't they? Michael says, Jimmy, do you risk playing your better players for the Burnley match and risk them getting a red card and or injury if it looks like the Blades could be heading for the playoffs? Yes, Michael, while everything's on the line, you have to go for it. You can't wave the white flag at any point. Maury says, I doubt Burnley will drop points now. They've got the Blades coming to town, Maury. They've got the Blades coming to town, so you might be right. James says, been watching your channel more than the several Leeds fan channels out there recently. Probably due to your downfall, but also because you're very good at this. Thank you, mate. I have to confess, I appreciate the compliment, but I used to watch Leeds fan channels. Like I've talked about it a lot on the channel. I used to watch in 1819. I used to watch all Leeds TV every time you crumbled. So I get it. I get the rhetoric and I understand the reasoning. You're welcome anyway, pal. David says, in Wilder we trust, I trust he will play Robbo. Yeah, me too, mate. Me too. Daryl says, I think Holding starts for you, lads, to be fair. He needs to go. Great content as well, fella. Keep up the good work. Thank you, mate. Marco says, I can understand the confidence of the Burnley fans as they've been the most consistent, but it would be so championshipy if they stumbled the next few games. Oh, I'd love it to be so championshipy. And what a great word as well. Danny says, I hope he brings Holding in. Robbo makes too many mistakes and just wants to be a UFC fighter. Yeah, a 22-year-old Josh Coburn had him on deck more times than anybody, didn't he? Other than I. Embarrassing. Manhandled. I'd like for Chris Wilder to drop him, but I doubt it. I don't think he has the balls to. Maury calling him out. Jack says, I do want to see Wilder next season, but he needs to start and find a way to get a consistent tune from these players. Kelly says, Jimmy, nobody knows what's going to happen Friday night. Let's hope we react and get a result. And let's hope Burnley get a draw or even or ever a lost fingers. Yeah, drop Robinson and play Holding. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Thank you, Kel. Hope you well. Don't think playing the kids is a good idea. The Blades need to build up as much positive momentum as they can, says Cooler King. I agree, mate. Ramblers road trip to Wembley, says Jack. Absolutely, mate. James says, don't think so. He'll keep Robinson. I'd drop him, make Clark captain as he showed leadership at Plymouth. Clark captain? No. Holding captain for me. Play Holding, but will Chris drop Robbo? I doubt it, but surely the time has come to drop him, Chris. Eki was good at seeing a 1-0 out. It was. Shame he couldn't do that at weekend. He couldn't get a 1-0 over Leeds United, could he? Oh, what's going on here with clicking here? Canham bought to score the winning penalty in the playoff final at Wembley, says Kev. Would love it. Robin says, for those wanting Gilchrist at right back, he's not a right back. That's true, he's not. We struggle to score goals. Gilchrist coming in will make us worse going forward. And Clark was brought in to play right back. I just think Gilchrist's a better defender than Clark and Sariki, which is why I want. It's not his natural position at right back. He prefers to be a centre half. I do think he's a little bit small to be a centre half. He's probably a right centre back in a 3. We don't want Hamer, says Jack. Well, more fool you. Brand says, evening, Jim. Burnley need to lose 2 games, one of them being to us, and we need to win every game. After a few days of reflection, this team has a lot of young players. They aren't ready to go up, which is something that Man Mountain talked about last night. 1 week of bad performances can turn everything around like it has for us. Nobody saw us losing 3 in a row, so it can happen to anyone. 1 week and Burnley could be screaming Parker out, says Ricky at Just United. Dale says, Jason, the Millwall game won't matter. It'll be done by then. Blades are falling apart again, says Tom. Welcome back to the stream, Tom. Deef says, 5 at the back would help Sariki and Burrows get forward without leaving more holes than Augusta National. Yes, true. That's very true. That's something I might talk about in the video tomorrow. Brand says, even after this season, the squad clearly hasn't gelled and he's still missing a few players. Another season in the Championship would probably be the best thing for us. Still Robbo out, though. I can't get on board with another season in the Championship. Would be the best. Hamer on his day is unplayable. Can see him being at Ellen Road next season. Frank says, Leeds fan here would like to see both Uniteds win promotion. Losing out in the playoffs is devastating to the team finishing 3rd. Beware of Cardiff. Could be another banana skin. Your channel is great. Thank you, Frank. Marco Meldrew says, I'll say this, Hamer will get enough cards, so he's suspended for the playoffs. Mikey says, I think the issue for you guys, Jim, is you now cannot afford to drop any more points. We can't, mate, but the one thing I'll say about United is, and we always try and find a silver lining to everything, we are at our best when we are the underdogs and nobody backs us for anything. That is the position we should be in. That's what we're used to. Nobody backing us. A little bit Leeds United, no one likes us, we don't care, that sort of attitude. But we like being the underdogs, and the fact that nobody now fancies us, that's we can turn that into a positive, even though it's very, very unlikely. Chris says, Robbo to score a last-minute winner at Wembley. It'd be a lovely parting gift, Chris, if that was the case. Tom says, thank you for the super chat, Tom. Very much appreciate it. Who's falling apart now? The mouth you lot gave us. I don't think we gave you much mouth, to be fair, but if we did, it's all part of the banter, isn't it? That's what it's about, really. Thank you for the super chat, pal. I appreciate it. Joe says, I don't think Wilder is here end of next year, regardless of the outcome of this season. The owners have too much ambition and want to make money. Ramble coach down to Wembley. Yes, I think so, pal. I think that's probably on the cards if we get there. If we ever get Danny Roll, I'm throwing the lot in the River Don. Let's not even talk about it. Chris says, if Wilder plays Jackie Robinson a wage, will you cheer him? Plays Jackie Robinson a wage, will you cheer him? I don't get it, Chris. Sorry, I was trying to make it out then. But Paul says, too much butter on them chip butties. They fell apart. Lol. Michael says, Leeds dropped their weakest link in Melier, and certainly their defence has got confidence in Darlow because of the improved results. Time for Wilder to drop Robbo for holding. Nothing to lose now. Completely agree. Brett says, we don't seem to cross, so don't need wingers. Yeah, but we're not scoring. And if we did cross, we might score from the crosses. Have O'Hare and Hamer as 2 number 10s just behind the striker, and Sousa and Peck behind them, and you'd have a third midfielder, wouldn't you, then as well? Christmas tree formation, I think, Brett. What ban do you think Wilder will get for his Plymouth shenanigans? Bet the owners get fed up of paying fines. I think we'll get a huge fine again. The last fine was something like 120 grand, and it just keeps going up. It's just ludicrous, isn't it? And it doesn't help anybody. Tom says, all love, mate. It's looking like championship again. Ole, ole. It is, mate. It is. John says, I would play Campbell and Moore up top. Moore gives us an aerial threat. Up the blades, up the ramble. Like and subscribe. Again, John, if we had somebody to supply a target man, then possibly, yeah. Joe says, forget it all and just take me back to 1920 season. Yes, absolutely, pal. Look, we are done. I'm at the end of the comments. We've gone over an hour tonight, which is a long one for the warm-up. But thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. We have got the view from the mountain that'll be out. I'll probably release it after this. Should we send it out after this? Let's put it out after this. Dave the Nose has picked his team, which you've already seen, but check out his justifications as to why that's happening. It's a short on the channel, so it's only a very quick snippet. Again, I'm going to remind you that we're back tomorrow at 12 o'clock as I prepare for the worst, which isn't a nice thing to think, but I do honestly think we can put a positive spin on this. It's not all doom and gloom. If we do end up having another season in the championship, let's just at least prepare ourselves for that possibility and what we might look like if that's the case. And then on Thursday at 9:30, it's hot off the presser. Chris Wilder's press conference will have just finished. We'll be live to talk about all the talking points from it before the big game on Friday at 5:30. And then we'll be here at 9 p.m. with 90 after 90. And I look forward to seeing you all there. Last few comments before we go. A big fan of the stream, mate, says Addison. I like most of the team, but that Jimmy Mitchell youth player is a proper one to watch. Okay, nice one. M says Robinson scissor kick against Cardiff, I think 2-0 the Blades. Jack, he's not playing anyway, I don't think. He's going to get dropped for holding, hopefully. Jack says you'll be lucky. Too busy throttling people to the ground to get up for a scissor kick, mate. Yeah, correct. Bit of a choke slam before he does it, probably. And, you know, red card, maybe. Misses playoffs. Don't know. Dave says, I still blame Lundstrom for everything. Why not? Why not while we're blaming people? Blame John Lundstrom. Thanks for your time, mate. Going to watch Barcelona. Thank you, Daryl. Keep it ramble, people. Thank you, Bright. If you do like what we do, please do like the stream and subscribe if you're not already. We're on a mission to get to 7K. Are we any closer to that as we sign off for the night? We're on 6,900. 100 subs to go. Thank you to everybody. We'll speak to you very shortly. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Of the blade!